Okay, so let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. And okay, where are we? So let's just feel where you're at this evening. Or this morning for Shrey. It's always nice to see when Shrey turns up because his country's in a fairly precarious situation right now. And Gabe's in Australia. It's the middle of the day. For some of you, it's very late. For the rest of us, it's almost bedtime. So for some of you, it's way past bedtime. So thank you for coming. So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture, feet flat on the floor. Maybe you can really feel the sensation of the feet on the floor. You have your knees about a hip's width apart and the shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light that stretch from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen the spine, putting some space in between the vertebrae. And just really acknowledging yourself for turning up. Just go to the crown of the head and release any tension there. Just relax your scalp, the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth, back of the tongue, the jaw. Just soften the whole face, the back of the head, the neck, and allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And just notice the sensations of the breath as you inhale and exhale. And be aware of sound in your environment. Just allow the sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then be aware of any thoughts that might be arising in the mind this evening. And notice, what it is you're thinking, and just observe it with a level of curiosity. Trying to put some space in between those thoughts. And maybe try not to follow them or any too many stories. Just allow. And then take a step back. And then bring to mind all the people of your life. So the ones we love very dearly are strangers. Then there's people in our life we don't particularly trust. And just remember they can all change place at any time. These relationships can be interchangeable. So we think we'll do this practice for all these people of our life, for Lou's mum. For Elizabeth's friend, Kate's puppy. You know, and there may be other people in your mind, many groups of people, people still suffering in western North Carolina. Anyway, there's always somebody to think about. So I think we'll do this for the sake of all these beings, all sentient beings, and think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change that by creating positivity instead. We start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives, and think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering, and also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to this power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we need the Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. He's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings in order to develop compassion. So here we have a little section on compassion, which comes under that section on reliance. So we are relying upon other beings to develop compassion. So the beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us. So we wish for them to be free from suffering. So now we come to this power of remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Vajrasattva-samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva-dina patita Drita meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasiti mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka A Hum Pe Vajrasattva-samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva-dina patita Drita meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is this purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body. Except this time it forces up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears to space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasiti mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan Sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan Sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Vita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Vita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine you've walked into a pitch black room and it's completely dark. You can't see a thing. So you flick on the switch and that light that comes instantly dispels the darkness. So try and imagine the same thing happening when, Vajrasattva sends light from his heart chakra to yours and instantly dispels all the darkness of the negativity of your mind. So sometimes I think, oh God, this sounds a lot to ask, but just try and wish for it. Just try and imagine it happening. And so all your depression and anxiety and bitterness and grudges and anxieties and all these kind of muddles and stories we have in our mind that kind of just make us unhappy, all our jealousy and bitterness, grudges, regrets, all of this sort of stuff. I mean, I'm talking about unhealthy regret, guilt, perhaps. Instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And imagine there's no space now in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So then we have, all we have left really is this imprint. So we're now working on a much more subtle level of this negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So it's just a very, very subtle what's left over kind of thing. So you imagine light and nectar pouring into you and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta meboa sawa sedi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita jita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawa sedi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hompe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawa sidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hompe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anurakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe, vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, vajrasattva dina patita, Jita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anurakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hompe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita jita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hompe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve. And this is the fourth and final step in this purification process. And it's a really crucial one. We need to really make a decision about wanting to refrain from harming. So we've got to basically decide, this is what I want. Otherwise, it just isn't going to happen. So just this decision in itself gives us a few guardrails. You know, and it kind of keeps us on the straight and narrow in terms of what we like. So first of all, rejoice in everybody just in your efforts coming along tonight. It's just beautiful. Night after night after night now for years. It's kind of amazing. Doing the same thing. And I think, in a way, repetition enables us to go a little bit deeper. Just layers upon layers in the onion. So anyway, rejoice. And then think of something you'd like to work on between now and tomorrow. And let's conclude. Vajrasattva is delighted with all of us, wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So a little bit about emptiness. So you remember, in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And we can also think the way things are appearing to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do 3 of our verses. With meaning of the truths in 12-fold form, aware of suchness in its 16 forms, with true awakening in 20 forms, awakened fully, knowing all supreme, dispatching countless sets of some 10 million embodiments of emanating Buddhas, the final realization of all moments, who knows each moment's object for all minds, and manifesting for the sake of all beings, with means derived from varied vehicles. I think someone might have their, yes, mute everybody. There you go. Gone forth by way of all 3 vehicles, remaining in the single vehicle's fruit. Okay, everyone, let's just make a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of your precious teachers to live long.